Oh yep, we're doing it now. Yes we are. Lorde is a singer-songwriter from New Zealand who caught the attention of many worldwide when she dropped an EP back in 2013, The Love Club, and then a full-length debut album called Pure Heroine. Her music was quite a distinct sound for the time. It was very dark, moody electro-pop music, which was a little bit different for the time where mainstream electro-pop wasn't really seeing that. But Lorde also brought a bit of a socially conscious and self-aware edge as well. Her lyrics featured these commentaries on the world around her, involving war, fame, hedonism, history, teenage pop culture. Her lyrics were quite obtuse and actually required you to dig a little deeper into them to kind of pull out very dark satirical meanings out of them. To me, and quite a lot of others, the lyrics on this album were written extremely smartly, and the dark, moody instrumentals were only a means of furthering or enhancing some of the dark content of the lyrics. It was such an unusual sound for mainstream electro-pop and just pop music in general, that following Lorde's critical and mainstream success came a truckload of other artists following suit with darker, moodier pop music of their own, with varying degrees of success. I'm not saying Lorde invented moody electro-pop music or anything, I'm just saying that her unexpected rise to fame in 2013 helped popularize it more for the years to come. Plus, I just think she writes her songs a lot better than most. Anyways, that's just some background on her music, and we did get a new album until this year, where she finally released a sophomore album called Melodrama. First off, it's easy to immediately start comparing this album to Pure Heroine. I will do it many times in this review, but only for the sake of comparing differences between Lorde back then and Lorde right now. In terms of comparing the quality of the music, I don't exactly think it's too fair. Melodrama and Pure Heroine have very different intentions and concepts, and are coming from very different artistic angles. Pure Heroine was very outrospective, commenting on the outside world, whereas Melodrama is very introspective. Over those 4 years, you'd expect that Lorde kind of gained maybe a new perspective, maybe some new experiences, learned a couple things, and I believe the majority of this album is based upon coming out of a relationship that's just ended, which is a big contrast to 2013, where Lorde's persona as an artist seemed a little impenetrable, a bit obtuse. It was hard to distinguish what were her personal thoughts as an artist, which is fine. It actually made a lot of sense for that album. On Pure Heroine, she was even mocking some of the hedonistic and luxurious lifestyles lived by a lot of people who are living the dream. But now, because Lorde's one of those big pop artists, it makes sense that perhaps she could fall into that category now. However, once again, Lorde is subverting that. Lorde is being very self-aware, very self-critical. Of course you're getting songs that are analysing the teenage lifestyle where you're going out and partying and doing all these hookups, especially on the closing track Perfect Places, which is quite an eerily cold, dark-hearted presentation of a party. It is quite a dark song.
Every night I live and die, meet somebody, take 'em home, let's kiss and then take off our clothes.
Even with its very catchy and anthemic chorus. And I think that's quite an effective defense mechanism against some of the darker themes that show up during this record, especially with the lyrics on songs like Sober, a very stripped down track with some very brilliant horns, I think the trumpets, that pop up during the chorus.
These are the games of the weekend, we pretend that we just don't care.
I just wish the song had a little bit of a better ending to it. And then later on in the album you get an even darker follow-up to that track, Sober 2. And the strings to the opening on this track are insane. They sound heart-wrenching. The questions that Lorde asks on this track bring up the futility in some of the things like partying and quick hookups and such things like that. This album does start off on a very triumphant note with the song Green Light, one of the defining songs that has grown on me a lot since its first release as a single. I love the excitement and the build-up that the pre-chorus brings when it rolls around, and once you get to the chorus, you just get this cathartic energy from Lorde, who is eagerly anticipating the next moment she can drop all her worries and just move on onto the next phase of life. I just think that's a fantastic moment. But it is immediately followed by songs where Lorde is constantly questioning herself, her celebrity status, and her love life, of course. But she's doing it extremely intelligently, just a little more than you might expect. I love how the instrumentals and the production on this album perfectly complement the emotions that Lorde is going through. The production is just so much more emotionally radiant and colourful and visceral than it was on Pure Heroine. While I love the unsettlingly synthetic production on Pure Heroine, I do think that on that album there are times where the production could have been a little more suited towards some of the imagery and the concepts and the darkness that Lorde was presenting. On Melodrama, she does this in spades. I don't think there's a single instrumental here that doesn't suit what Lorde is lyrically putting forward on a track, like The Louvre, which has these moments where Lorde is describing the boom boom sound of a heart beating, and the instrumental actually does sound a lot like that. Even on the song Liability, which is a very stripped down piano ballad, during the second verse you are hearing these reverberating, radiant piano chords that just sound like lights flickering on and off. I just think it's a really beautiful moment and adds to the ambience or the ambiance of the record.
I know that it's exciting, we're running through the night, but every perfect summer's eating me alive until you're gone.
And while I've brought it up, Liability, what a song. It's such a crushing, emotionally heart-wrenching piano ballad. The way the first verse just unfolds. Lorde describes herself going home and dancing with the one girl she loves. But then it's revealed in the last part of the verse that this girl that she loves is in fact herself. And to a stranger looking in on the scene, all they'd see is just one girl alone in the living room. My second favourite track on here would have to be Writer in the Dark, because I actually think it's got Lorde's best vocal performance to date. On the chorus, Lorde's high-pitched falsetto vocals remind me a lot of Kate Bush. But aside from that, I just think it's so impassioned, it's so emotionally potent. She sounds like she's on the verge of just breaking down into tears, and that's just what makes the song so much more powerful. Powerful. That's the sound for powerful, apparently. It seems like Lorde has indeed displayed on this album the growth and the maturity of character since her 2013 debut. But at its core, a very fine-tuned pop record. However, I wouldn't say it's as instantaneous as Pure Heroine. I'd actually say that from Lorde, this is a slow burner of an album. I wouldn't expect anyone to latch onto it immediately. But to be honest, in terms of what Lorde was capable of doing and pulling off on this record, in terms of the writing and in terms of the instrumentals, definitely, shout out to all the people who collaborated to make those instrumentals just glow with colour. Jack Antonoff, I believe, worked on this record too, so props to him. I think Lorde on this album fulfilled a potential that I didn't think she had, to be able to provide something so personal yet just as compelling as her debut, in my opinion anyways. I think that there's going to be a lot of people not liking this record for a variety of different reasons, and that's fine, but it pleased me. I do genuinely think that this is just a fantastic, well-tuned pop record from Lorde, something that is just so much more artful than your average pop record. 9 out of 10.